What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Danny's Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today we are celebrating 5 years of Dad Needs to Talk. Man, it is crazy. 5 years. As well as I'm gonna talk about briefly my little Pokopia addiction and the movie Hoppers. But 5 years, y'all. 5 freaking years. It is crazy that I've already it's already been that long. Before I get into all that, as always, if this is your first time here, then welcome. But if you're a returning listener and or watcher, then welcome back. Y'all know here at Danny's to Talk. It's all about fatherhood and family, manga, anime, TV shows, movies, and of course some video games. Man. 5 years of Danny's to Talk. Um, this has been a very interesting journey, to say the least. Especially when I kind of reflect on things over the years, from that very first day when I decided to get some stuff together to record, to where I am now. Now, yeah, I'm not the biggest internet sensation or anything like that, but I have found my own little pocket of the internet that I kind of fumble and bumble around. And I found some very cool people along the way that enjoy my fumbling and bumbling. Whether it's people that are fellow parents, or people that just enjoy the vibe and just enjoyed me talking about manga and anime and gaming and other stuff that I was interested in. Um, all the above. I just gotta say thank you, and I appreciate everybody that has ever hit play on a YouTube video, hit play or download on a uh, podcast episode, wherever you listen to podcasts and stuff. I truly appreciate that, because, like I said, I have gotten to meet some very amazing people. I've gotten to do some cool things along the way, and I talk about it all the time. The last 2 3 years, really. I would say the last 2 years for sure. Um, I had to really kind of pump the brakes on a lot of stuff, because when I look at, man, that first year and a half run was honestly something legendary, to be real with y'all, because of the fact that it's like twice within that first year I got a chance to speak to a college class about podcasting, which the first time it happened was like within like the first like 6 months of me doing the podcast, which was crazy. I've talked about it before, but just to tell the story again, like I had a guy reach out to me um, on Twitter, and he was a professor at the University of Texas Arlington. And he reached out to me, said he checked out some of my stuff and wanted me to come talk to his class, because he did a lot of like media stuff, whatever, and they were just starting a podcasting class, and said that he was interested in what I was doing. So, but yeah, so that was one opportunity. Um, I had Fan Expo Dallas within my first year reach out and give me an opportunity to do a panel at Fan Expo Dallas in 2021, which was pretty dope. I got tickets to go to DreamCon for free that year when it was here in Dallas, up in Arlington and stuff. But yeah, man, like I said, it's just been so amazing, and that's why I know that when I can get things fully ramped back up again, that it's straight to the moon. Because I'm like, I did all this stuff, And my first year and a half to 2 years, and then like I said, it's just been kind of up and down, but little steady but slow. But like I said, me getting a chance to kind of see that early on, and sometimes kind of reflecting on it, is like, okay, like there is opportunities and things out there. Shout out to other people that I follow that continue to do dope things and stuff. And so it's like, okay, there are still things out there. There are still potential opportunities, but it's like, I just kind of had to put more focus on home life and family and stuff because y'all know with the kids getting older and, you know, my older three are all sophomores now, and my middle son's in seventh grade, and the baby, Mr. Vash, he's in second grade now. And so a lot has happened. A lot of things have ramped up. In some ways, slow down in others because at least hey, at least we're not traveling across the country right now, like we were for my older son a few years ago with basketball and stuff. But you know, but yeah. So like I said, just kind of like reflecting on the podcast. And I truly did not expect to be doing all of the stuff I'm doing now. Like I said, like talking about manga and anime and stuff like that. Whatever. It was really just a outlet for my grieving soul after the things I went through at the time. With the back-to-back loss of my older sister and then my mom and stuff. My older sister October 2020, and then my mom January 21, which like I mentioned at the time, both are significant for multiple reasons. Just in general, losing them, but the timing, because my sister passed away. So my sister's birthday was October 29th. She passed away on October 2nd. And so that was a gut wrenching punch within itself. And then kind of like the reverse with my mom. My birthday is January 6th. My mom passed away like January 21st or something like that, after my 31st birthday. Um, but yeah, so like I've talked about it before, but it's like, that was a very, very, very tough time for me. And I decided to, you know, pull up my phone and record and just kind of speak out into the void. And there were people on the other end to hear me speaking and to talk back, and seeing that it was coming not just from familiar places where I knew friends and family and stuff grew up with, but seeing the little dots of activity pop up all over the state, all over the country, all over the world, um, has been pretty cool. And honestly, that's why sometimes I don't mind putting stuff up at midnight, because I know, hey, there is somebody on the other side of the world who is up right now. It's lunchtime for them, or middle of the day, and oh look, Danny's uploaded something new or whatever. And then hey, the people that are local, when you wake up the next morning, your boy is there for you. But that's kind of like I said, where the kind of you know just the freedoms. Hey, just post when you want to post, man. But but yeah, like I said, just thinking back on 5 years and all the different people that I've met, collabed with, and stuff, and everything, it has been truly special, truly beautiful. I have seen people that we just connected and just vibed off of shared interest in manga, anime, different stuff like that, or whatever. And I've seen them go, a lot of them going from no kid to a kid or multiple kids, because like the guy that hosts the Unlockables podcast is a gaming podcast. Like when I met him years ago, whatever, you know, I don't even know if he was married at the time. I think he might maybe just had a girlfriend or a fiance. Maybe they might have been married, but they had no kids. And now he just had three kids back to back to back, And then like Lisa from the Wonder of Anime had a baby a few years ago, and he's freaking almost. I think he's almost like three, which is crazy to think about. And the creator of the book. Uh, uh, Lord, it is killing me. I can't think of the freaking name. Child of Water books. She had a baby a couple years ago, and newest one to the parent gang. She just posted about it the other day. Uh, Phoenix, aka the anime T, just became a mom. That's why she's been MIA from the internet for the last several months. So yeah, so shout out to all y'all out there. Like I said, that's been with me, regardless if you had kids or not, or if you didn't have kids in the beginning, now you do. Shout out to all y'all. Same thing with Sine from Blanime. I can just keep going on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, so just shout out to everybody out there. And so kind of like looking forward, I am honestly not sure. Like I definitely want to get back into having some type of regular guest, even if it's like freaking once a month, having a guest on the show, just because I enjoyed talking to all the different people that I talked to over the years. And, and like I said, just getting to just connect with people, and even if it's just talking about a specific series or just having them on along the way, like I did sometimes when I had people on, like I had Phoenix on to talk about a winter anime preview a couple years back. So different things like that. So, but yeah. So your boys out here thinking, coming up with ideas, whatever. And of course, as always, feel free to hit me up if you got ideas, if you got suggestions of things you would like to see me talk about, or if you would like to try to collab with me on something. Let's connect. Let's see what we can make happen. Now, kind of expanding on just like life and stuff going on lately, whatever. Uh, the kids are on spring break this week, so dad still got to work, but they'll be chilling, doing whatever they're going to be doing. Um, I do think for sure, probably like ideally these next couple of years, I'm gonna try to be more proactive and taking, even if it's like half the week off for spring break, especially like I said, with my older three gonna be juniors and then seniors in the next couple of years. Try to do something, but like I talk about all the time, like aside from just work, then with the sports stuff that's always happening, always going on. And now, yes, there is a choice to be made there, because we know over the years, there's been practices during or tournaments or different things over a spring break or a Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, whatever the case may be. And now time 9.9 times out of 10, me and my family stick around. We're there for it. But we know a lot of people are like, nope, sorry. My family were traveling, going out of town, out of state, whatever, for the holiday. Definitely makes sense, because it's like, hey, sometimes you got to just live life, make those family memories and stuff, whatever. But yeah, so kids are on spring break this week. I'm just trying to get myself together. I finally, finally got me some new comfortable house shoes. Got me two pair. Cause my old pair was falling apart in shambles, like literally in shambles. And so I literally just tossed them in the trash right before I came in here to record. And then yeah, the thinking about potentially doing one big electronic purchase, though it sucks right now because, of course, with everything happening in the world and with the pricing on electronics and stuff right now, whatever, stuff is expensive. But I would love to get me a really nice laptop that I can both do my podcast recording on, but also maybe even, you know, powerful enough for me to do some decent gaming on as well, because I thought about getting a PC tower, but I think for my lifestyle, having the flexibility of a laptop would probably be in my best interest. Because that is something I kind of want to talk about at some point. Is like on like the gaming side of things, why I'm so happy that I got the Switch 2 or whatever because of the flexibility with how me and my family move around and stuff with the kids and stuff. And so I think the same thing with a really good laptop would be something nice to have. So that'd be a nice little personal investment, if you will. So I'm gonna look into that, see what I can maybe find that won't break the bank, as they say. But yeah, so I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's nothing really else too much. Like I said, with the podcast, I am trying to stick to at least bare minimum with the main podcast, doing at least twice a month, if not three, and then kind of sprinkling in, the manga reviews and maybe other TV show reviews and stuff along the way, just to kind of have a little something for y'all on a fairly consistent basis, when I can. Um, but yeah, so once again, thank y'all for 5 years of Dad Needs to Talk, and here's to hopefully many, many more. Uh, yeah, so kind of going on from there, I guess I gotta jump into the Pokemon elephant in the room, Pokemon Pokopia. Now, this is a game. Oh, let me get it pulled up real quick for y'all or something for y'all. So, Pokemon Pokopia has become a global sensation. In its first 4 days, it sold over 2 million copies, I believe. And this is one that really, 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 I did not expect to get as pulled into it as I did. And that's mainly because honestly, and a lot of people have talked about this, about how when it was first revealed, it was kind of like, okay, man, like what is this weird thing? You're playing as a Ditto, doing some Animal Crossing knockoff thing. All right, whatever. But as you kind of start to see more and different things, whatever, you realize, okay, there's a lot more depth to this than the first impression. And so, for those who do not know, Pokemon Pokopia is a new game that is a combination of co-development from both Game Freak as well as a Koei Tecmo, specifically the team that created the Dragon Quest Builders series. Now, that series is pretty much kind of like a Minecraft-esque adventure world where you are building and doing different things, but it has more structure, it has a storyline to it. And so that's kind of what Pokopia is, where it's a mixture between Dragon Quest Builders, Minecraft, and Animal Crossing. And so the setup for this is that you play as a Ditto who transforms into what they remember their trainer looking like. So of course you get to do the character customization and different things like that with Ditto, and pretty much you begin exploring this world to see and figure out what is going on, because this is pretty much a post-apocalyptic Pokemon world, and the only Pokemon you meet is Professor Tangrowth, um, who is just out hanging out. You show up, and then they basically are the ones kind of leading you and starting you on your journey. And so basically, the gameplay loop of it is that you are exploring and basically repairing the environments and the different habitats that will bring back Pokemon to the world. And that can include as simple thing as putting, okay, four plots of grass together, or you know uh, four bushes underneath the tree, or a whole host of other different things. And the Pokemon will slowly start to come back into the world, and it's a constant feed and loop of tasks and different things like that that you are doing to kind of like revitalize this world and this level. And the dope thing about it that a lot of people didn't realize before getting the game is that the game is pretty freaking huge as far as like the space you have to play around with, because a lot, like honestly, you could spend dozens of hours just in that first area, but you discover if you explore around enough whether that there are these different gates that get you to different areas. And so pretty much think of it as like the gates when you're playing a Pokemon game that would lead you from one route to another. And so it seems like this world, at least on the surface level, that you are seemingly in the Kanto region. Because as you explore the world, you're finding different little notes or different things left behind where you might see a person talking about like, oh my God, things have gotten really bad. We have to evacuate. And so you're kind of getting these bits and pieces of what maybe happened in this world, like why is it in the state that it's in. But yeah, it is just such a beautiful and addicting gameplay loop. And it is honestly perfect for somebody like me who, you know, sometimes stuff like Minecraft, at least on the surface level, is kind of like too much freedom, so to speak, to where it's just, all right, hey, you're in the world, go do whatever you want to do. And then also, it gives you way more than Animal Crossing, because Animal Crossing, you really kind of have like your one island or whatever you're in. And then a lot of times you have a finite amount of tasks you can do every day before you kind of just like, okay, well, I guess I'm figuring it out myself. This game gives you structure and parameters to kind of work around and to kind of play in to at least kind of point you in a general direction. So it could be something as simple as like, hey, okay, we're trying to fix something. Well, we need a Pokemon that, uh, I don't know, can punch stuff or whatever, or help destroy these boulders. Well, okay, um, I know a Pokemon, Hitmonchan, and then they'll give you a little thing of like, I think this type of environment they were like, and they would give you, okay, a bench and a punching bag. Well, you go out, you find, different items and stuff, whatever. You put those things together, boom, and now Hitmonchan will spawn. You can get him to help you with stuff, or you can get powers from the different Pokemon, and thus you can keep going. And a lot of times, you just doing stuff within the world will eventually feed into something else, because it could be like, a lot of my big exploration and discoveries happen while I'm waiting for something to build. So now a small house or little hut, whatever, might take like 20 minutes, might take an hour, a couple hours. And then once you get into like, okay, hey, we need to rebuild this whole Pokemon Center, that's not going to finish until the following day. So a lot of times when I'm building like the smaller stuff, like, okay, hey, I got 30 minutes to an hour before this is ready. Let me go explore. And then you end up discovering new things, whatever. And then, you end up meeting other Pokemon or getting different requests for like, hey, I would really like, it'll be really cool if you had some berries for me to snack on. And then they would immediately pick up, oh, you got some berries. Can I have one? Boom. And like I said, that's something that I was already just doing on the side. I just happen to already have that. And so you can kind of, keep things going at a pretty steady clip. Now, I will say the game has been out for about a week. I've already put in over 20 hours, and I haven't even played it the last, like, really, really the last, like, 2 or so days. And that is because the Pokopia addiction is real. Now, with how busy work and family life and stuff has been with, sports and different things like that ramping up, um, I haven't really had a lot of downtime at night when I get home or before I got to go to bed to start the day. to start the day again. And so I've just been feeding all my free time pretty much into Pokopia to the point where it's like, hey, I hadn't watched several anime shows in a while. I haven't, the new season of the One Piece live action came out. Hadn't even started that at the time. I'm on episode 2 now. Shout out, really, really good, really, really good. Lots of dope things, even just in that first episode alone. But so yeah, so I made the adult decision yesterday of like, hey, for one, I need to catch up on my rest this weekend, and two, I need to do other stuff. I need to catch up on some anime shows. I need to just check out other stuff, whatever. So I kind of put it down because it's like, okay, I've put freaking 20 something hours in less than a week. Okay, yeah, hey, just pump the brakes and kind of chip away at it slowly over time because I made it to, I guess, like the third main area is kind of how I will phase it. And I was just kind of like, yeah, nope, just kind of nope out for a little bit. But yeah, so this game, like I said, it's been so wonderful. In those first handful of days, like I was falling asleep with my Switch 2 on my chest because like with the kickstand, I'll be laying in bed, have it propped up on my chest, detached Joy-Cons, just however I'm laying down in the bed, just having fun, got my headphones in. The music is just so calming and soothing, just lulling me right to sleep. But yeah, so shout out to Pokopia, man. Like I say, it is out now, only on Switch 2. It is $70, but for me, it already paid for itself. Like I said, the fact that I already got 20 something hours in, and like I said, way less than a week. Um, because honestly, I think probably 10 of those came that first Friday evening, going to that Saturday morning after it released, and the rest has been like an hour or two every day since then. But yeah, so Pokopia, super dope. Really loving the game. Like I said, loving all the different hints and mysteries. I recommend people to sometimes, hey, take time, slow down, explore the area because there was a spot I'll kind of mention briefly that I had passed through several times. And then one time I was just walking by this like kind of like little tunnel area, looked at the wall and noticed it was like some like different color blocks and patterns and stuff. I was like, what is this? So I kind of punched my way through, found a underground cave thing, followed it. There's a whole slab on the wall of the unknown letters, and I was like, ooh, we got a mystery going on. And speaking of which, there's like other like legendary Pokemon that would just like pop up from time to time, either due to the story advancing or just randomly popping up, like Ho-Oh and Lugia would just sometimes fly overhead and drop feathers and stuff, whatever. So, but yeah, so just lots of really dope uh fan service and stuff. And this has been a great way to kind of, for myself, uh reconnect with the series because like I talked about it on the recently when I talked about the 30th anniversary episode where I talked about my history of Pokemon and how these last few games I hadn't really gotten into as much or whatever. Well, this game has Pokemon from, as far as I can tell, most of the generations and stuff. And so I'm kind of seeing Pokemon from some of the newer generations that I'm not too familiar with, and that's been pretty dope. To be like, oh, okay, you're kind of new-ish or whatever to me, but but yeah, man, this game has just been such a fun delight. Very very big time sink. And of course, Mr. Vash being who he is, very funny because he watched me play a little bit and he was like, ew, when he saw like Ditto, um, because like when you're using the water gun, you're just spitting out water. He's like, ew, is he just spitting it up stuff, whatever? Or you can hold down a button, like if there's a bunch of like stuff on the ground for you to pick up, whatever, you can just hold Y and Ditto would just open his mouth and just like a vacuum tube suck up stuff, whatever. And Vash is just like, ew, that's disgusting. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah, you do have a point. It is kind of a weird looking son, but but yeah, man, this game is so freaking fun to play. So yeah, don't sleep on it. Like I said, it has definitely been a system seller because I've gone to a lot of electronic sections in different stores over the last week or whatever, and kind of just browsing through and see 9 times out of 10 the Pokopia section on the shelf is completely empty. I've seen every day tons and tons of posts of people being like, "Hey, I finally bought a Switch 2 because of Pokopia." And things like that. So it's been just very awesome. And of course, all the fan art and stuff has been so cute, and all the different videos and clips. So shout out to everybody out there that is in the Pokemon spirit, because Pokemon Pokopia is definitely a big hit right now. So, but yeah, man, like there's a lot of games and stuff going on. Um, And so it's like, Resident Evil Requiem came out, did really well, I think like 5 million copies. Then you had Pokopia out the next week in Marathon. I've heard, a lot of people really loving and digging Marathon. Um, and then this coming up week is freaking Crimson Desert, which is like that's a game I already know I shouldn't buy, but I am tempted to buy just to see with my own eyes the sure scale of the game and the world and everything like that. But we'll see. But there's been like some really cool videos from Digital Foundry's been putting out, going through the different areas and stuff of the game. So I don't know. We'll see. Really don't need more games right now for myself because I got plenty I need to catch up on. But yeah. All right. So I think lastly, let me see. I'm gonna talk about a little old movie I went to go see. Okay, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on this, whatever. But just had to shout out Hoppers. This is a new Disney Pixar movie, and so this is another movie that I've told y'all before. I had signed up last year for that Fandango movie club thing, subscription thing, whatever, where every month you get a $10 coupon to go towards a movie or whatever, and other discounts and stuff. And so I had a coupon that was going to expire beginning of this month, and I was like, okay, what is coming out that I'm semi interested in or whatever? And Hoppers was one. So the basic setup and premise of Hoppers is that it follows this young lady who actually, let me see if I remember what her name was because my memory is horrible. Mabel follows this young lady named Mabel who is very passionate about nature and things like that because she's always been a fan of animals and always hated seeing animals trapped and stuff. And so she ends up bonding with her grandma who has this very awesome kind of like pond area near her house that she loved over the years of growing up into adulthood, of going there, seeing all the different animals and stuff, bonding with her grandma and stuff. And then now, as a young adult, there's this new mayor coming in, and he wants to basically put a new highway overpass thing through this park or through this area. And so it basically follows her doing what she can to stop him. And so along the way, she discovers one of her college professors has this team of scientists where they are, or where they have created this device that allows them to put their minds into this robotic animal. And so she ends up sneaking to their lab, hopping into this robotic beaver thing, whatever, and going to try to talk to the animals. And so that's kind of the setup and premise of the movie. And so very silly up top from the premise sounding, but and from the correct trailers, but This movie really had some very touching and tender moments to it that I was not expecting because it deals with a lot of themes of grief, things of acceptance, of change, of making a difference, of different things of that nature. And so this movie definitely had several moments throughout that, of course, made you smile, made you laugh, and also tugged at the heartstrings a little bit, and even made you gasp because you're like, "Yo, whoa, that happened. That was crazy." Specifically the squish moment. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That was a very crazy scene and moment. But uh, but yeah, man, this is one that I think is fun for all ages, but I don't know if I would take a super tiny child to it because, like I said, it does have a little bit of a darker tone to it. But I guess a lot of Pixar movies and stuff kind of have that sensibility where it's like, okay, hey, an adult can watch this and pick up on some certain tones and themes that might go over kids' heads. But yeah, just wanted to put that out there for anybody that might be thinking about going to see it with the kid or whatever. It's a good movie. Like I said, it might be some life lesson stuff in there or whatever, but just know, hey, it has some crazy moments and stuff in there. But one of my favorite moments of the movie, and once again, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's the kind of like the introductory slash summoning of the council, and just like the way all the different uh animal kings is what I'll just say vaguely kind of came in or whatever was like super dope, whatever. Kind of like some dang kind of like a bunch of like captains or something from an anime all getting summoned to a big meeting or something like that, like the like the freaking Akatsuki showing up in Naruto, or summoning all the captains in Bleach, and you know different little moments and stuff like that. So, but yeah. So shout out to Hoppers. Very cool movie. Like I said, really surprised me. And I do gotta say, man, I had went to go see this like late at night on a Wednesday, so it was like a 9 something p.m. showing, whatever. Still, hey, lots of families and stuff, hey, no problem. But there was somebody that was like a couple rows down in front of me, whatever. I don't know if it was them or if it was their kid, but they just had like YouTube or some video or something, whatever, playing loud on the phone, and like, okay, whatever. During the previews and stuff for the movie start, I can maybe let it slide over, but it's like, okay, hey, the lights are dark, the movie is starting. Put your kid off the phone, or you get off the phone, whatever's going on. And it was so bad that like somebody in the theater shouted out, "Shut up!" I guess they didn't hear it or whatever, because obviously the movie's starting or whatever. There was a mom came down and went and said something to them or whatever, and then it stopped for a good long while, and then uh later in the movie, it started back up again. I'm like, now, I wanted to go down and say something, or whatever, but also, as a black man, I was like, yeah, I gotta be careful about stuff like that nowadays. And so, but shout out to the white mom that went down and said something to the dude and his family, whatever. But yeah. So aside from that, really fun movies and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think. Aside from that, I don't think there's nothing else. I want to keep this kind of short and sweet. Um, as I get ready to head off to bed and stuff, man. Got another week ahead of me and stuff. But once again, as always, thank you so much for watching or listening over these last 5 years, and hopefully you will continue to be here for the rest of the journey. But as I always say, you can find me everywhere at Danny's Talk. And also, last little note before I sign off, shout out to all the new state champions in basketball from this past weekend. That was another thing that ate up a lot of my time this past week, was checking out a lot of the playoff games and, of course, a lot of the finals games this past weekend. Dallas, DFW in general, both Dallas and Fort Worth area teams dominated the state championships across both divisions from, I think, 3A, for sure 4A, all the way up to 6A, whatever. So, like, Frisco Heritage got their first state championship in that school's history. Actually, that whole district, like, no Frisco school on the boys' side had won a championship yet. So, shout out to them. Uh, North Crowley got their first state championship since 2008. Um, Dallas Carter got one. Uh, Dallas Campbell repeat back-to-back state championships. They won last year and they won again this year. Who was the other one? Let me see. I said North Crowley, Frisco, Dallas Heritage. I think those were the main ones. Now it did kind of, for my hometown region that I grew up in back in Jasper, the 409. They had two Beaumont teams from down there came, but both of them lost to some of the teams I just mentioned. So sucks, my new home versus my old home, so to speak. But yeah, so just shout out to all the like I said, all the new state champions out there and stuff. So yeah, let's get ready for the next season. But yeah, so as always, treat yourself to something nice. Read some manga, watch some anime TV shows and movies, play some video games, and of course, live your best life. And with that, I am out. Appreciate y'all so much. And thank y'all for everything with Daddy's Talk. And I will catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.